elimination match in the Crazyhouse World Championship between Alduto, I assume from America, and notjannlee from Australia. And Alduto, probably the rating favourite, but there's not much in it. He has good openings. But let's look at the first couple of games which have already been played. So it's a Scandinavian from notjannlee, swinging over to a5, which is very normal. Hits the knight, d4, white gets a huge centre, and black is already putting pressure on this diagonal, and not quite sure what the correct response is, but this is reminding me of the game earlier in the day. Is rook g1 the correct response, or is it rather to go bishop d2? But anyway, what happened is the sack happens on f2, he throws in a check, he gets his king safe, but the problem with that is he loses his queen. And black is getting a lot of pieces, he's getting 2 pieces for the queen. In fact, he's getting the queen back here, and this is just game over already. He wins the queen with check, and Alduto resigns. So that was an opening disaster from Alduto. And in game 2, he plays the Scandi back. Does Alduto? Maybe, but if he wanted to see a refutation of that line, he'd have had to play this and see what notjannlee does instead. But okay, he does this instead. In fact, this is what Alduto normally plays. This line, I think, this Scandi. So takes, lots of pressure on g7. Often you want to put the bishop on d3, so you're hitting h7, but that couldn't work in this position because e4 would come. But still, this looks reasonably good for white. Takes, he's taking on g7. The king is kind of stuck in no man's land in the center, trying to run away. Hi there, PKR. This c6 line is pretty bad for black if white knows what he's doing. I see, yeah. And so does Alduto know what he's doing? Yeah, it looks like that king is in trouble with this being the weak square, d6. So watch d6. Oof, the queen is coming with check. Takes here, takes here, and this is just a simple checkmate. Okay, so that's game 1 and game 2, and now we're on to game 3. So now we're up to the live action, and we're seeing this line again. And actually, I didn't pay him enough attention to the chat, but I think Mugwort said something in the chat. Takes, he takes with the knight instead of this. This is interesting. Takes, knight here, wins the bishop. Check, checking again. So this is a very interesting position. So there are ideas of knight here check, for example, but he's worried about queen here or queen here, possibly leading to mate. I don't know the exact combination. Something like queen here, pawn here, check would be very concerning. So he takes the bishop, natural enough. Notjannlee going straight for the kill with at f4. I really haven't had a chance to look at this properly. But he takes the knight using the trick, because if you take back, there's knight here check, winning it back. So it's all very complicated, and that's what happened. What? He doesn't take the queen back, so he doesn't take it back because he must realize there's a problem. White might have a mate already, so he's calculated that already, and so it looks like Alduto is fighting back in game 3 and has the better position. Just to quickly say, in game 1, I played knight takes f2 and then queen takes c3. Knight d4 is the trick against, in the candidates against GSVC in 2018. So that's what Mugwort said. Okay, but Alduto has figured it out. He's figured out a refutation by game 3. So good job, Alduto. So we're going to see if Alduto can manage a comeback here from love 2 down. So we're going to game 4 in this exciting match. So e4, d5. This is going to be a celebration of the Scandinavian, which isn't played much in Crazyhouse these days. It used to be played a lot more. Maybe because, as PKR said, there are these refutations. In fact, it reminds me in my own match, in one of my matches, I played this move e6, and the problem is this bishop b5 move. This bishop b5 move is rather annoying. and so that's why it is in some sense the refutation of the Scandi in some of these lines. But okay, so white's getting is opening up lots of holes on the black king. Duke says odd. I'm not sure why he did that. This looks all correct, unless he meant the last game. So let's just. What was the? I'm missing what the intermezzo is. At h6 is more common than f6, is what people are saying. Is what PKR is saying in the chat. Takes at h6. Yeah, because he played something different in the first game. With knight here and f6 ideas. No, in fact, he played d4. He played d4 first, so move order. He played d4 first. Yeah, I can't remember the exact move order, but oh, I see. So it's the last game. Notjannlee had an intermezzo at f4 check before taking the queen on d5. I guess I ought to have a look at that quickly. At f4 check before taking the queen on. Let's just quickly have a look at that, because the current game is going to get spicy soon. I've lost track which is. Okay, so at this point, this is all over. So I'm struggling to find. Oh, of course, yes. At f4 check. Yes, that's true. At f4 check, king comes here. Then take the queen on d5. Okay, yes. So if you take the queen immediately, you lose the bishop for free. So there's a way of holding this very important piece, which was winning the attack. Okay, yeah, that's really true. Yeah, how did he miss that? I'm sorry, I haven't followed the chat. Why not at f4? Ah, yes. So at f4, and the whole point is the king is then on h4. Nothing completely immediate, but it just looks a lot easier to make that king on h4 with a queen in hand. Yeah, at f4. Just to turn on the engine for a second. At f4, black is better, but still not crushing. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, back to the current game. Let's just try and figure what's going on here, because so this is all very normal. This makes a lot of sense. f6 is a way of defending that g5 pawn, but okay, apparently h6 ideas are sometimes played instead. But okay. And so this doesn't look terrible. So why doesn't white just take the rook? And he must be worried about f2 sacks. Are f2 sacks so worrying? Or is there some other concern with knight takes rook? Okay, but he does this instead. Okay, so he brings the knight back in defense rather than hunting for rooks. Yeah, so now he has white has got better coverage of e3, but yeah, who's doing better? And Duvid says, think that at h6 line is better, but if notjannlee prepped, bad news for Alduto walking into this line. Yep, so Duvid and PKR are agreeing at h6 is more usual, but I'm not sure of the opening myself. Because at h6 seems to just, if it's immediate at h6, you seem to be just dropping that pawn, but maybe there are reasons why it works. So what's happening in this position? It feels like white is under some very heavy attack. Not quite sure how he keeps control of the g2 square. So it's not looking good. Maybe his best hope is Knight takes queen and hope that black doesn't find the mate. And is there a mate? So after pawn takes rook, he could just go king takes and slide into, yeah. Yeah, actually black does not have that much material in hand. So if there is no mate, then there is a mate threat here. So we're seeing this line played, in fact. He's got to just, he takes here, yep, but only pawn and rook to mate with. Oh, and that is actually enough. Okay, so I miscalculated. But knight takes queen, have to go for it, yeah, or not, as Tuvid says, yeah. I had the same opinion, you have to go for it, but turns out it doesn't work. So nice finish by Alduto, equalizing the match at 2-2. PKR says, sometimes taking the rook in the corner is just a bit slow in these lines. Okay, well this is really exciting because this whole match is going to be all about the Scandi. So there's like a theme to the match, which is quite fun. Sometimes you get the London system matches. Well, this is one of those Scandi matches, and they don't happen often, so it is very fun. So we're going to see a repeat of this line with the king on e3. Brave, brave, brave. Some would say foolish. So do you grab the rook or do you go with the check? And do you spot the f4 idea as well if it comes to that? Okay, so let's see. You could, I mean, the king on e3 can't be good, but then black isn't very developed and only has a couple of pawns and a bishop in hand. Duke says, imagine they go into exactly the same line and he misses the intermezzo again. That would be sad, yes. And hi there, Duke. I haven't seen him play Crazyhouse before. Question mark. But it's good to have a new Crazyhouse fan. So while he's thinking, I should think with him. But just for a moment, just going to quickly check. Lichess is highlighting this coverage. So that's very nice of them. Thank you very much. Okay, so at e4 was played. This is interesting. So remember, white he's got a silly king on e3, but he has a queen in hand and a queen on the board, and this knight is hanging. So surely black doesn't have enough for this attack. An entire sleeve says, yeah, I got here on Lichess. Nice, nice. Lone Wolf's asking. Anyone streaming? Yes, I'm streaming. I could actually join the house Discord. So if you want to, I'll hop into house party and you can join in. So yeah, it looks like black's losing even more material. So that there is a threat of knight here picking up the queen. Oops, not drawing this correctly. So you can't just take back. You could go king takes. So the problem is there's a lot of, no, you can't do this. This, same idea. Black is suffering from a lack of development though. So 2-2, yeah, good scoreline. We have a match on. Okay, so he defends the knight fork, and he has a threat, which is bishop takes f7, which would be surely mating with the knight on g5 and a pawn landing on f7. A good threat, I have to say. It must be met. It must be responded to. So e6 would be natural, but it does cut off this diagonal, which is one of your attacking diagonals on the king, which is a shame. It would be a shame. What else could there be? There could be just bishop here with some attacking intent, but again, not sure. Maybe just simply bishop here. But bishop here could easily be attacked by a knight. Bishop here or here could be attacked by a knight on f4. A knight on f4 would also give. Okay, so what's the idea of this check? Black seems to be really keen on sacking material here. If the king takes this pawn, The bishop is covering both of these forking squares. He goes for this pawn. Now the thing that I don't like that as much, because what I actually liked was bishop here. Maybe. Well, okay, this is good too. Bishop here covering f7. It looks like notjannlee is just going all in, but he doesn't have enough pieces. So he's going to now just have to play e6. Really? Okay. He's very keen on attacking with no pieces, and it's not going to work. Doesn't e6 hang g4? Yeah, I wouldn't have played bishop at g4, that's true. Yeah, this is all just not working, basically. Just has to do this. But then this hangs, you can just drop a pawn here, and that will distract the bishop. And then there are ideas of takes, check, and not drop a knight here. So this is game over. White has all the pieces, as entire Steve says. Yeah, black's just sacked far too much. Pawn in training said the same as me. Bishop here covering f7 was probably better, although white does simply have pawn at g4 defending. Okay, so the pawn at d7 idea I was suggesting didn't happen. And again, more pressure on f7. It's not clear how you meet it. Now just pawn at f7. Looks incredibly strong. Pawn at f7, you obviously can't take it. So sidesteps makes a lot of sense. You don't have enough material. There's a lot. Nice king run. And you don't even have a bishop to cut off this run. So, he goes here. Okay. Wastes maybe one more piece. It's okay. I don't know. I'm not sure about what he's done now. Because now he's in a kind of a mating net. Notice, not quite a mating net, but notice all of these squares are covered. So, yeah, now, okay. But Alduto had calculated he had the mate, so he was almost tempting him. Go on, take my queen. So, nice play from Alduto. When I joined, it was love 2, but I chose correctly, so far at least, to spectate from Alduto's perspective. Alduto is a very strong player, I know from my own experience, and he's won the next 3 games. He is super strong, says PKI. I've gotten a couple of wins against him as white, but I'm not sure if I've ever won a game with black against him. I think that's right. He's just mugged up on his opening theory, and he's just hard to beat now. I'm 2-6 against him, and notjannlee I've never played. So anyway, I'm sorry I didn't really follow the intricacies of the opening, so I'm just going to quickly play through them again. So this we've all seen before, but a more patient approach now from notjannlee. Is it? No, it's the same. Okay. Nope, it's exactly the same. At f6. At f6 here. I was thinking, is d4 something? Probably just bishop takes, and no. At f6, it is logical to try and protect this pawn and create some holes, but it's losing quite a lot of material. Okay, now what do you do? It's a difficult situation. So why can't we just go and take the rook? I guess at e3 is a problem, but at e3 is coming anyway. And people just keep on repeating, at h6, not at f6. So let's actually just go back and think a second. Why does at f6 work? So at h6, why can't we just take this pawn? Then d4 hits the queen and the bishop. No, but then we got queen takes pawn. That can't be right. That feels really uncomfortable if we're losing this rook, because then our back rank is exposed. Oh, but maybe we just got bishop here. Okay, so it's a very sharp line. At h6, queen takes g4, d4, queen takes g2, bishop f3, and at this point the queen and the bishop are are hanging. He could take the rook and then save his bishop. Bishop takes d4. Lose his queen for a bishop. Lose a queen for a, but he gets a bishop and a rook, and maybe a pawn. But then white gets the initiative at the end of that line with knight at f7 ideas. So maybe that's why white is better. But this is pure speculation. I do not know the openings, unfortunately. So we'll have to look at that after the match, what the openings should go like. Kajan Josh says, notjannlee sacks too much, I guess. I think he does, but I think he's also trying to get out of book, which is a good tactic against Alduto. So if sacking too much gets you out of book, then so be it. I should just play through this a little bit more slowly. So he wants to defend f2, so he does this. This comes anyway. He tries to defend e3, f2 is fallen. He gives up on f2, just sidesteps. He doesn't want to get into a fight over f2. So he's trying to use that black pawn to defend himself. So this is quite smart, in fact. Okay, the queen backs off. You have to defend that knight. But what is black's threat in this position? e3 is defended, g3 is defended. Black only has a pawn and a knight in hand. And PKR 5025 says yes, it's queen takes g2, bishop f3 is indeed better for white. So in this position, this knight is a gorgeous piece, hitting all of these weak dark squares. Oh, but giving it up for free. Ooh. Maybe it works, but it looks so interesting. So the idea of if queen takes knight at g7, you can't go this way because takes the rook takes. We have a pawn in hand, king here, and rook here is checkmate. So maybe it works. You'd have to run, and then he's getting a queen on the back rank. So that might actually work. Queen takes, and maybe get queen on. What's the point of winning a knight if your opponent's going to get a queen on the back rank and win your rook? So yeah, that seems to be an attack one can't ignore, and so Alduto does not ignore it. He sidesteps. Very nice. And I'm always very worried about even simple moves like at f7. But no, they're not here because queen takes knight. So notjannlee just attacking. If he stops attacking for one move, I think queen takes knight and all the attackers are cleared away. So it's a kind of, that's the sort of situation we're in. An entire sleeve. White only has one pawn, but is attacking fiercely, indeed. I mean, this is an attack one can't ignore. So, and he doesn't ignore it. So nice. Pawn, you don't have a pawn now for c7. Okay, so he tries to clear something away. He's still got the open file. So, you know, if you take, so black doesn't have that much material either just yet. So I don't know who's winning this game actually. Oh, nice move. Did not see that one. This is sneaky stuff. So he wants knight takes queen, pawn takes queen with check, and I don't see a finish, but because all of the squares you see are so well defended. Maybe queen at h8, but it feels a bit slow. But so that's what he wants. But if and if queen takes pawn, he wants knight here check, block, and knight takes queen again with check. So he's trying to win the queen with check. That's what's so sneaky about this move. Trying to win the queen with check, but only 20 seconds on the clock. Is a knight a threat? Well, if you've got a queen as well here, probably you have to take it. So notjannlee really making kind of like very high quality sort of one-ply moves. Very high quality one-ply moves, meaning moves that you cannot ignore. I mean, really, just moves you cannot ignore. Amazing. And they are fitting together in a wonderful way. These moves that one cannot ignore. I mean, this is beautiful. He's just won a queen. It's not with check though. That's the only thing. But I mean, really beautiful play here from notjannlee. Because this is tough. You have to block the queen, otherwise queen takes pawn. And even if you block the queen, queen takes pawn is very powerful here. Queen takes pawn, or bishop takes pawn, but queen takes pawn. So you're winning the queen. I think he might have done it. I just have to say, win or lose, this has been a masterpiece from notjannlee. And that's checkmate. Unbelievable, because just making these moves, every move was a threat that had to be countered, and it really looked the whole way like Alduto was fine, but he just kept on asking another question, and really well played. Amazing. So, an entire sleeve. White only has one pawn, but that was enough. Amazing. 3-3. And we see the same line again. Rook g1 is played. Now here, I think the move would normally be at a3. Maybe not, because the bishop just slides back. Interesting. And knight takes f2 also. Interesting. But he does something slightly different, which looks incredibly... It looks incredibly interesting. Queen here to defend g2, but then the knight can slide here. So Duvid says that line is just winning for white. Not sure how he lost game 4. Oh, okay. So, well, the Scandi, the theoretical fight in the Scandi continues. Hi there, Train Flipper. Good evening. Yeah, indeed. Very late evening, 3:46 in the morning. Got to agree, that was quite impressive from notjannlee. It was very nice. It was very pretty. It was like I didn't believe a word of it every single move, but he kept it going another move. And good evening, Juicebold, as well. And by the way, yeah, if either of you want to join me in the house party channel, you are welcome. Just tell me, and I'll be there. Do we have any insight on who's behind the notjannlee account off the record? Yes, we do. Not the name, but he's an Australian, and he's notjannlee. So I like to joke that he's Justin Tan, the Grandmaster. But that's probably doubtful as well. But he is very strong at chess. So if you look at he's 2600 blitz. So he's a strong chess player. Maybe not quite a Grandmaster. But okay, so I've lost a little bit of track of the last few moves. It seems like White's, unlike previous games, got some quite good king safety. His king is not sitting on e3, f4 and going for a wonder. So this bishop is looking a bit silly on it. Here, what to do about the queen though? What happens often with the queen in the Scandi, stuck on a5, is you do just have to ditch it at some point. But maybe it survives here by just stepping back. Looks like he's going to ditch it. The problem with ditching it is this bishop's coming alive. An entire sleeve. Yes, there is indeed a Grandmaster Justin Tan. So same name as our Jan-Lee, Justin Tan. But so Jan-Lee is the second best Justin Tan from Australia at chess. He's only 2300, whereas so the real Justin Tan, as it were, is some Grandmaster. Okay, this is very strong from Alduto. I'm very impressive. So 3-3, a real pressure situation. Looks like he's coming up with the goods as white. He's hitting the knight. He's hitting the pawn on c6. Am I going to stream Mugwort in an hour? I think so, yes. Mugwort mariorton is in 1 hour and 10 minutes. Yes, no sleep tonight. Okay, so nice free piece. He grabs. I think he grabbed a knight. So he's, again, every move comes with a threat. But it always feels like surely we can just, surely we can just yeah, sidestep the threat in time, and so it's not really an issue. PKR, that would be lovely. We can have a Mugwort mariorton party. Amazing. Queen takes g4, safer. Oh, so he was thinking maybe even queen takes f2 and knight at. That did look dangerous actually, because we have 2 pawns in hand, which is enough to clear away the rook. So can the king find some shelter when it's only a rook on d7? Yeah, so hard to calculate. So David's right, that was very tempting, but when you're completely winning, maybe don't take the risk. Okay, so Alduto is going in. So the point is, queen takes knight will be a mate threat with queen takes rook, and you've got to just make sure knight and rook aren't mating you here. And I don't think they are. So if the knight were not here, then I'd be a little bit worried, because knight here, check, king here, rook here, check. Okay, even then the king maybe slides away. Oh, super cautious from Alduto. So he's allowing this takes bishop, but that's not going to be any good. But super cautious, because his king looks just not giving away any chances. Just, okay, we'll give away this piece, but otherwise I'm just going to... He's probably going to drop a pawn here or something. He's really playing the finisher style of chess, just not giving away anything. Oh, pawn here is nice. Try and deflect the bishop and get in queen at d7. Still, this works. Okay, so Train Flipper said he was also important to note queen takes g7, rook at g8. I think he plans knight at f6. Oh yeah, knight at f6. So takes would be a mate threat. Yeah, so okay, so something else has happened. He really is just playing finisher style, just grind the opponent into the dust, giving no opportunities. This, just slide across and so on. Okay, this is surely getting mated. Yep, king back and queen here, or queen here is just checkmate. Okay, so Alduto takes a 4-3 lead. Let's just quickly, while they're just setting up a rematch, see if queen takes f2 was indeed mate, as David was suspecting. It's slightly risky. It is indeed a mate in 10. So do you go knight? Oh, knight g5 because it's a double check. King e8. Do you go with a pawn or a queen? It turns out a queen is good, and you're even willing to sack the queen here. So in fact, whatever he does, you just sack the queen, and lots of moves work, but at d6 is the most efficient. We only have bishop, knight, and a couple of pawns in hand, but that is enough. So this is... So why do we go at d6 rather than going, for example, rook f7 straight away? So rook f7 straight away, we want to open up this square. That's why. So we go at d6 takes, and then rook f7. So if he ever goes here, we just drop a pawn. So he must... I think... No, that's not right, apparently. King d8. We don't drop a pawn. Okay. So, anyway, if he goes here, knight... Oh, I see, it's a knight. It's a knight to cover e8. That's what it's all about. Okay. And then at e7, king takes knight, promote to queen with a double check, and then take everything. He's obviously winning. And if he goes to here immediately, the same trick will work. Yeah, at e7, and if he comes this way, knight at c7, king d7, double checkmate. Okay, so that was how to win if you like your mating sequences. An entire sleeve says pawn at d6 first, so we can play pawn at c7. Yeah, so it's knight at c7. It turned out was the idea. Okay, so we're seeing the same lines again and again from both players. It really is, both players sticking to their guns, that they believe in their openings, and still at f6. d4, we've got a complete repeat of this line. Takes, 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 knight c7, takes. Oh, so we have a change here. Instead of going knight f3, we're now seeing a little bit of bravery. Going straight for knight takes d5. And this sack is too much, I'm pretty sure. The king could find safety. Oh, again this idea. Again this lovely idea of getting a pawn on g7. Yep. And white's busted, out of material. But maybe still fine. We'll see. So Train Flipper says, not many people play that line as white. Is this Craze maybe? So Craze is already in CWC, and no, this is not. Craze is done with Crazyhouse. And also Craze was an opening theory geek, and notjannlee, if you look at his previous matches, is not an opening theory geek. He's prepared one line as white and one line as black, and he's and Alduto, if he were wise, would try and deviate, probably. But what Alduto is doing instead is saying, I don't believe your one line, and I think I can refute it, which is also a valid approach if you're also an opening theory geek like Alduto is. Train Flipper says Craze is done with Crazyhouse. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he says he'll play sometimes, but he's basically done with Crazyhouse. Yes. So, okay. I mean, I'm expecting bishop f3, but this came already, so I'm not sure what's happening now. But the knight's defended. But so it's about making moves which can't be ignored, I guess. He keeps on, yeah. I mean, okay, I think this is interesting, because if you block, maybe knight takes rook becomes an issue. Yeah, because now the queen can't take back. And now maybe rook here actually becomes an issue, because the king might be driven up. I mean, if the king comes back... Okay, so Alduto says, I don't believe you. I don't believe a word of this. I wouldn't go to e8, that's for sure. I wouldn't... Ooh. Yeah, here I just wasn't sure. Because if you have a pawn, it looks dangerous, but white doesn't have a pawn just yet. Oh, what? That's a pawn. Okay, now I'm scared for black. Train Flipper says, okay, I haven't seen much from notjannlee. I just assumed he was a theoretician based on this match so far. But this match has just been one line from both players, so it's not really the mark of a theoretician necessarily. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's not a theoretician. PKR says, I thought bishop b5 was a bit weird, but if he calculated this to mate, that is nice. I'm not sure he did, because black always had king to e6. And entire sleeve says that he's a theoretician of the one line. Okay, so just to briefly say, why can't we take this queen? We can't take this queen because pawn here check, king here, rook takes bishop, and if you block, rook takes his checkmate. And if you run up, then I don't believe it, basically. You promote, takes, king takes, you promote again. Yeah, bad idea. So he defends. Takes, takes, takes. Okay, but now we have a queen in action. So I think notjannlee is going to take this one, to be honest. One idea was queen here, then use a bishop, and then rook takes bishop. That seemed like a very solid way of winning that position. Just queen here, bishop here, drive the king to here, rook takes bishop, and checkmate. But that's not what happened. It should still be fine, and it is. Queen is just invading. Chess mate. Hi there, Lone Wolf. He can take d4. Where's the mate? Because king d7, then nothing. Okay, so let's open it up. You're saying he could have taken d4. Oof, not here, not here, not here. Could take d4. Okay, so the line I was suggesting was here, here, and then here. And if this, then promote to queen. And I'm just going to try and I'll just engine check this to make sure. So if takes the queen, let's just check it. At e7, okay, it turns out juiceboard is right, but let's just engine check why I'm wrong here. So king e8, rook takes c8, king d7. I was taking this. Oh, I see. I was thinking rook takes rook, but rook takes rook isn't check, and then we get mated. Okay, so that's a problem. So nice spot there, Lone Wolf. So white is still winning, but it's really tough. Takes. Okay, so really unclear. Okay, so whatever. White is winning, but that would be really hard to see what exactly to do. But that's not the way to do it. Yeah, so you have to do something like bishop at g. So you have to do some bishop check along this diagonal. Because the bishop is cut, you can't ever... you can't take the rook because the bishop is covering, sorry. So you have to block. Why can't we just block with the pawn? Because then rook d8. Okay, the king can't keep running is the point. So obviously if rook takes, then we have all the things I was saying with promoting, and that's going to end badly. But actually that has to happen. There's no other move. Okay, so that was the idea. King takes. Okay, it turns out we don't even need a queen because we got a rook in hand. Okay, but the really clever thing for black here is to block with a pawn on f5 to give himself a little bit of loft. That doesn't work because you just take it. Or what you basically need to do is block with a rook on e6. And why does that work? Because now you don't have this promotion idea. Oh, and also because it's check. Okay, that's pretty neat. So takes. If f takes, you have the same idea again. So king takes. Okay, so that's why this is the line. Okay, so there's no mate. The king is. Yeah. This is all forced. So we're kind of seeing more clearly why it's forced, but and how someone could, in theory, have come up with it. If you can see this bishop check, everything else will follow. And it turns out it is a mate in 12 now. It's saying, but okay, that's impossible to see. Okay, sorry, I should be covering the live action, but yeah, really nice spot there from the Lone Wolf. So we're going to see this line again. Rook g1 takes, knight takes f2, queen takes knight here, knight takes bishop. And what do you do here? Not sure. Ah, I like this move, at f4. Pawn in Training says, these players are quite good, but switching things up is usually good. Yeah, it's quite funny. So knight takes rook is fine, because he's going for these ideas. Yeah, so this is why Train Flipper says, I think I would have taken the queen too. Not taking seems more dead to me. Yeah, I think he thought it was mate. I mean, I thought it was mate too. So okay, so white doesn't even bother defending. Just goes. Oh, he does defend. Oh, nice. He's going to defend with the counterattack. Okay, nice one from Alduto. Notjannlee bringing a defender and also a counterattacker into the game. Potential ideas here, not at the moment, but maybe in the future. But also defending. Very nice. Queen takes knight. Pawn here. Okay, so really aggressive from Notjannlee. And pinning that knight. Really nice. Counter pin. So you can't take the knight. Very nice too. Takes. queen takes will be met by bishop here again. So Alduto's having a think. I like this. Okay, that's a rather chill move with his king on f4. Somehow this feels... Oof, that... Notice the f6 square is weak, because takes... Actually, bishop is covering e8, but there might be queen takes bishop first. Yeah, there could be queen takes bishop first at some point, and then knight at f6 ideas, with the queen and another queen here. So if you go bishop takes, queen takes is checkmate. These sorts of ideas. Again, notjannlee is trying to mate with not enough pieces. Simply block would be my preference. Really, walking into these diagonals seems a little dangerous. So basically there's a wall here. So it seems a little bit dangerous to be walking back into this. But I guess he's just saying my knight is covering everything, and he is right. He has a mate threat. Queen takes bishop, knight at f6. Okay. He's not scared. A knight at f6 just has to be mating here, though. Knight is pinned after bishop at c6. Yeah, I think that was the idea. Bishop at c6 again. So there's no time for queen takes knight, knight takes c7 kind of stuff. Exactly. Okay, well, Alduto's thinking. That's the only problem. He must have been calculating, do I have a mate? Okay, so let's just try and calculate for him. Takes, takes. The king going here looks super dangerous because of this, but maybe the king could step up. But I just don't believe it. This must have been good. It must have been good for Alduto, but low time. And so he's going for the treble pawn defense, the famous treble pawn defense. And notjannlee is just going to punish him for times. If you can't find a mate, I'm just going to take your pieces. And just in a few moves, Alduto looks like he's losing now. It's kind of sad for Alduto here. Rook and queen is just going to mate. The knight was pinned. Which knight? I'm now confused. Oh, this knight. Okay, yeah. Okay. I was thinking about these sorts of ideas, but this knight was pinned. Yes, I see. Sorry. Okay. You can't do those ideas because the knight was pinned. Okay, great. Well, this is just going to be all over. You've just got far too many pieces. Queen and rook, standard chess. Slide them up the board. And that's what we're saying. The chess player is going to find the chess mates. Oh, don't even need to slide it because the bishop covers. Yeah, so that's what notjannlee is, just a very strong chess player. And he's taken a 5-4 lead. I didn't expect that. I thought Alduto was really winning that game, and he just went low on time. I mean, we just look at, say, the position here. So, okay, the position here, for example. Wow, not so clear. And yeah, not so clear. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So it wasn't so easy as and then at this point the knight's no longer pinned, but f6 is covered. So yeah, not easy at all. So yeah, I have to say I've changed my assessment. Yeah, really nice play from notjannlee. It wasn't just about low time. Just played it really well. So we're seeing this line again. This is a celebration of the Scandi, which is fun. But we're seeing just a slight mix-up here with bishop takes. Just trying to figure it out. d4, bishop takes, and he doesn't have the pawn in hand, but he's still kind of looking forward to it. Justbold says, I got trust in Alduto. I do too. Train Flipper says, notjannlee giving me some real GM vibes. And Justbold says, I don't think notjannlee, I don't know. I think notjannlee has some opening holes, so I got a decent score to him, I think. Possible, says Legion. I wouldn't be able to spot them though. Well, you wouldn't if we're only playing 1-9. So yeah. So hang on a second. Here, takes this pawn. He just grabs a bishop. I'll take a queen. Yeah, you can have my rook for a queen. That's a good deal. I'm just going to just plug this hole. What's the idea here? See, notjannlee has just spammed all his material basically. And what now? I mean, we could even just ignore that. Yeah, we can't ignore that. But maybe there's something smart we can do with something like a knight here and going straight in. Maybe we can't. And Justbold says, oh yeah, I confused him with Anjou Nakamura. Yes, maybe. No, he's played almost no Crazyhouse at all. If you look, why is it not opening? Just open up in a new tab. He's played very little Crazyhouse. But in the games he has played, because I've commentated on some of his past matches, I think he's a very promising player. Legion says both Anjou Nakamura and notjannlee are notjannlee. So maybe that's why you confused them. Justbold says, who knows? Maybe notjannlee is Nakamura. No, so Anjou Nakamura was in CWC, and I don't think he's Australian, Anjou Nakamura. Okay, I think he's American. You can see here he's only played 300 games of Crazyhouse, and oh, but maybe he's an alt because he jumped straight up to 2200. But I think there's been some progress since he joined. So maybe he's not an alt. I'm not sure. Legion says, and Anjou Nakamura is Janlee? To which this one responds, I was going to say that, but then I decided to stay in the believable field. I should have the Twitch chat up on the stream somehow, but one day I'll figure out all that stuff. Okay, so this position, Alduto is really under pressure. He has to win. But he's completely winning, but notjannlee just keeps asking one more question, and he's down to 20 seconds. Ah, I thought just king here, but then pawn here, but then knight here. I don't know about king g6. That feels suspicious. I guess the bishop is covering 2 key squares, but rook here, king here, really? And then they're going to be discovered checks? This is not right. This is not right. But what's the refutation after king here? You can cover this square, but you can't cover knight checks. Yeah, Lone Wolf says he agrees with my just step back and put a knight on g6. Yeah, running looked dangerous because pawn here, rook here, and you're picking up the queen with check. Oh, he noticed something I didn't, which is this pawn is not defended. But that's why I expected rook at g7. I really expected rook at g7 first, then a block on g4, and then somehow use the knight to deliver a checkmate. But it wasn't obvious. You have to get your knight from here to here somehow, which takes a couple of moves. I mean, it takes more than a couple of moves. It takes 3 moves to get your knight to a neighboring square. Oh, don't go here, because that's basically checkmate. Pawn here is checkmate. Oh, this is bad. No, that's defended. But this is really not. That's also defended. Okay. Castles. That's a funny one. Alduto, he is so brave with his king this match. I have to say, I don't believe a word of it, but he is brave. I have to say, he is brave. Don't lose that bishop. Oof. Don't lose that bishop, because the bishop is... Okay, now this should be easy. There should be an easy mate. So he's going for something very simple, which is just a smothered mate. Rook takes and knight here. Smother. Lone Wolf says he's either brave or he's trolling. Yeah. Let's see the chat here. Rook at g7 looked much safer. And Mugwort, another option was rook at h5. Rook at h5, king f6, at e5, king e6, bishop g4. I'm going to have a look at it, actually. Even though it's going to be 5-5, very exciting game, I think it's worth having a look at it. He's having fun with his king. Just he needs to stop getting in low time. So strategy here is knight here, queen here, mate, as well as queen here, knight here, mate. So they all centered around f2 being a weakness. Nice quick response at h3. We're going to just attack the light squares once f2 is covered. Very nice. Good strategy. And notjannlee is busted. He's still trying. I mean, he's still trying. Takes. Oh, yeah, okay. Rook here is interesting. He's still trying, my goodness. He's still going for the mate. There's something about notjannlee. He's quite scary in that he keeps on posing another question. But I think he's finally busted. I think he's finally out. Yeah, okay, nice try. I think Alduto has taken every piece on the board, apart from that last rook. So if we can get a mate which takes that rook, that would be fun. He resigns before that happens. Okay, so let's actually, before we go into overtime, so it's win by 2 in overtime. Before we do that, let's look at the position where Alduto, not very wisely, in my opinion, went king g6. Let's see. King g8 was winning for white. King g6 was busted. Let's look at the Mugwort line. So, what was the Mugwort line? So rook g7 was what we were all thinking, and king h5 is what I assumed. H3 is then strong, and it's very hard to defend this because even if you take, you're taking back with double check. Okay, that's really interesting, really, really instructive. So you have to go this way. And then apparently white's best plan maybe is to castle and just laugh at that king in the middle of the board. But okay, so that was clearly a good thing to do. What was another idea? In this position, rook at h5 was Mugwort's idea. King f6, e5, king e6, bishop g4. This is fun. And apparently the move is at f5, bishop takes f5, because then you can take on e5. Crazy though this looks. And then when you take here, then you can run away, because you've just taken away that pawn. And so apparently black's okay here. So what was the way for white to punish king g6? It was actually at f5, and you'll think, what's the point of that? Just bishop takes. Then rook g7, and you've blocked off f5, and now h3 is mating. Oh, that's super instructive. So at f5, we have to go king takes f5. But if you go king takes f5, then the rook can land on here, and this is just mate in 1. So king here, what happens next? But then knight h4 is mate. My goodness, did I miss something? No, that's it, just a mate in 3. The mate in 3 is rook here. I did miss something, didn't I? King g4, h3. Oh, h3 is not mate because he's then slipping back here. So I did miss something, which is king g4. knight takes d4, discovered check, and now he can't run back to h5, so he just has to block with something, which you then take, the power of the bishops. Okay, but that's a really beautiful move. That's like a starred move, you know, at f5 to stop the king running to f5, and it's a mate in 12, and that's really super beautiful. You force this, and then this is mating. That is so nice. How is white better after king g8? Asks the lone wolf in the chat. So king g8. I was thinking pawn at g7, and then you're right, black is better. But the engine has ideas. Rook at g7, and whichever way you go, there's a pawn hanging. That's the problem. So if you go here, rook takes h7. Ah, and if we just keep running, then rook h8, and he's going to sack. He's not going to sack. He's just going to do this, and our attack isn't fast enough. White's attack is faster. So what is the best defense? The best defense apparently is king h8, rook takes f7, knight. This is, yeah, you can see this is uncomfortable. So he wants, I mean, you can't, there's no time, you know, we don't have enough. I don't see what at d2 even does. He wants to do knight d7, but this is coming, surely? Apparently that's not even the best move. The best move is knight e5. I don't get it. And then at g7. And this. Oh, I see. So that's the point of knight d7. Knight d7, I thought that was a developing move. It's actually covering f8. So that's the idea. So you deflect the knight from f8, and then pawn here, rook here is a mating threat. So that's how you win after this. Okay. So let's get back to the live action. That was we've got another king running game. So we've got this line again that we've been seeing again and again. Takes f2, takes e3, takes the bishop. Pawn check, really nice. Bishop, okay. Does he find f4 intermezzo? He does! He finds at f4 intermezzo and then takes the queen. And this is a really unclear position. Check, block, check. Ooh, another check. Takes, and takes the rook, not the pawn. What was better here? Takes the pawn is tempting as well, but he goes for the rook because it looks like there might be. Well, the king can still run, it looks like. So it's such an unclear position. Knight takes pawn seems fine. So it looks like white's okay, but look, this is a 5-5 game, so huge pressure. And I'm loving it. Queen here was also interesting to trade off queens. Got to be careful of this move. So does he have something concrete? Train Flipper Legion says, how could I miss rook at g7? Oof, thank God I'm not playing CWC right now. I'd get destroyed. Feels so rusty right now, although that doesn't say much. Morlock was speculating that you were playing CWC, but not quite sure what he was on about. I think maybe it was a joke. So queen here check, blocks of the pawn. What is the idea here? The Lone Wolf says, yes, I'm rusty too. Okay, so the problem is, how to defend against this. He's not backing down. So the problem with stepping back was then queen takes pawn, queen takes here comes. So this was actually just forced. But the problem then is this is falling, and that might just be mate. Or is it just a draw? Can't just be a draw. Come on, this is mate. You just look. The way to think about it is exactly. The king is in a box. He cannot get out of this box. So pawns will mate. Pawn, pawn. Exactly. So you just sack and pawns mate. Lovely, lovely. Lovely play from notjannlee. Legion says, no, I didn't sign up this year. Okay, so the wild speculation was incorrect. Because people were also wondering who Dog Answer is. Dog Answer signed up in response to Cat Ask. Dog Answer Cat Ask and Cat Ask, and they're going to face off in the candidates. This Dog Answer guy and Cat Ask. So it would be fun if Janlee and Not Janlee also signed up, also faced off in the candidates. Oh gosh, so something's deviated here. So what? Who's deviated? Alduto has deviated. He's gone Bishop D7. Not Janlee with the correct, I think, refutation. Or is it? Why doesn't he take F7? I don't understand. Why not take F7? So I think at E6 is correct, and I think David says Not Janlee was saving this one just for this. Well, it's Alduto who deviated from what they'd been playing in the previous games. Yeah, and just to look at the previous black game, Alduto won it, and the one before that he lost, and the one before that he lost. So yeah, but he won the last one. Train Flipper says maybe it's Crazy's third account and he wants 3 accounts in the candidates. Yeah, funny. Taking F7 first or later doesn't matter, says Lone Wolf. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, thanks. So it's nice to hear. It just doesn't. I can very much believe it doesn't matter because it's coming anyway. So very nice. Okay, so Queen there check block. It's asking to be pinned if you have time to pin it. But maybe then pawn takes and the black king claims it's safe. So instead this. So we're seeing an attack on the light squares. If we had a knight, that would be really uncomfortable for black because the king is stuck in the middle. Okay, so we're going to take a bishop instead. How is this for each side? It's really hard to assess these positions. Is this, yeah, is this, I mean, it looks really uncomfortable with the king on e6, but I have to assume, I would assume both sides are out of book. And maybe Alduto's okay. Yeah, don't give a knight in your. Legion says I like Queen B3 here. Queen B3 actually I was thinking of this move. Yeah, I didn't vocalize it, but I was thinking Queen B3. I was thinking Bishop might just drop back, but then, and then the sort of ideas of some knight check and Queen takes B7. Ideas, and the other one was, yeah, but and then yeah, at least it comes with tempo, so there's no time. So Queen here was also interesting. I don't like Queen takes Bishop. I think you can't even take this knight, he's saying, because this is checkmate. I think Not Janlee is just, you know, he hasn't quite got the balance right in terms of how much to sack in Crazyhouse. He's incredibly strong in calculations, clearly, and but he's still, I think he's still got some, yeah. Oh, interesting. So a check which also defends the mate. He's a little over aggressive, I think, sometimes. Okay, so he takes the knight and protects the mate, which is interesting. So can we just take the bishop and say our king is try and find a knight bishop mate on our king? It's kind of funny, like, how can you mate with the knight and the bishop? But you have to remember, this knight could swing. No, it can't really because of this. But and this bishop is also in the in the swing of things. So you could go knight here, check, but just here, and it's not so clear. Bishop here, check. It should be fine. It should be fine for black. This knight here, but actually, if you actually look at white's position, apart from that queen at d1 threat, there's actually nothing else. There are no other mate threats in the position. There are no other threats I can see in the position, in fact. So, brave move from Alduto. Puts his king on e8 and says you don't have a pawn, and even if you did, I'm running. So I don't know. I think notjannlee is still doing okay here actually as white. Legion says notjannlee giving me some crazy Janlee vibes right now with his resourcefulness. All I can say is he will love to hear that. Because I asked him, why did you choose the username notjannlee, and he said because I will never be as good as Janlee. And Legion said, yep, queen b3, the idea, bishop d5, knight d5, if king f7 or king d7, you go bishop at e6 either way, and keep the king in the middle. Right. Okay, so what's the threat? So the point is he had to defend a mate threat. That was quite serious. Oh, hang on, what? With only 9 seconds. He just had knight takes rook, but why didn't he do this? That seems really strong. And now it's not clear. Well, he's still got knight here, check, as a threat. Hard to defend. I think Alduto's got this. He's got to throw in that check. Yep. And now white can never castle, because you either move the king or you open up this diagonal, so you're not castling. And now rook at d1 is a threat. Okay, Alduto has to win this, right? Yeah, Alduto has to win this. So there is pressure. He wants a pawn. Queen takes... Did queen takes pawn not work? Or maybe it didn't work. I don't see a mate. He needs a pawn. He can get a draw. A draw's no good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. 7 seconds on the clock. Got to be careful here. Don't want... Alduto does not want to draw here. Okay, good. He takes the knight. Gosh, this is... Okay, you got to... That doesn't... What? Does that work? He didn't have a pawn for g7. I don't think that works. I don't think that works. And now Alduto's got it. That is incredible. So 6-6. The match goes on. This is incredible. Oh my goodness. Okay, so he grabbed this pawn, and notjannlee thought he had something. The best thing to do was just to do this. This just hung the mate. Takes. Rook takes 1, c takes d1, and you have this mate of this drop something here. And the reason it's mate in 4 is because then you'd have a rook to drop, and so you have to take and double take. I mean, I can show it, but it's not very interesting. Queen here, pawn here. There's a double take, checkmate. So yeah, takes. So that he took that pawn. It seems like, oh, you're just taking a pawn, but that pawn is the crucial piece he needs for mate. But the simple thing to do is defend. Does defending work? Because the idea of queen at d1. Oh, okay, so you don't take this. You just go bishop here, and if he goes queen takes rook, then your rook at c8 is working. If king takes c8, the beautiful thing is queen here and bishop here. That's a beautiful one. And if you step up, then it's getting complicated, but bishop f5, protecting the rook. This king can't run out, and then queen at e8. So that was the idea there. So you can't just go and take the rook, and the rook is stopping you from going pawn here and taking heavy. Yeah, whoa, okay. I wonder what happened at the beginning of game 13. Oh, same thing again. Except not the same thing again. Yeah, not the same thing again. Instead of going at e5, Alduto finally, and I think this is the correct thing to do, mixes it up. Mixes it up. And I was expecting maybe pawn h3 stuff, because the queenside looks really solid, but let's see. Yeah, not sure that does anything. Like, white is happy here. White is good. Good mix-up from Alduto. Nice. I like it. He's got a very safe king. Somehow black's bishop got stuck behind e6. Now white's got a gorgeous, nice knight on e5. Legion says, unfortunately I can't stay up any longer. Yeah, I feel for you. Sorry about that. Got to get some sleep, but thanks for the show. Go, 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 notjannlee. Hope to see more of him in the future. I agree. He's played really well. But I think Alduto's got this. I think Alduto's got this to win. But absolutely. I mean, notjannlee is like a future prospect. And the Lone Wolf says, see ya, Legion, and see ya, Wolf. Good talking to you guys. Yeah. Yeah, pity you're not in CWC this year, but next year, maybe next year. And of course, you're organising it. So, and thanks for all your help with the spreadsheet and stuff. Good night. This is going to go on at least another couple of games, and Mugwort, meanwhile, has been spectating this whole time, and he's got his own match against mariorton in 24 minutes. And it looks like it might even be back-to-back between these two. Who won the NBA, says Kajantish. Okay, so I said how I liked how safe White's king was in this sort of setup, and how it was rather unfortunate that this e6 is blocking off all the nice ideas, but it was difficult to go e5. e5 is slight weakness because the queen is defending it, and also it cuts off the queen from going across to the king side. So that's why you play e6. But black has a very solid position, but unfortunately has not very much attacking intent against the white king. And what happened over the next few moves is black continues to solidify, but at the cost of pieces. So white has all the pieces. And this continues with the queen sack. So the question is how to break through with all the pieces. Yellow says, who is my son never called me, says, who's notjannlee? All we know is that he's a very strong chess player from Australia, and he is like 2600 blitz and approaching 2400 Crazyhouse. And he's notjannlee. So as I said earlier in the stream, I like to joke that he's Justin Tan, the Grandmaster, not Justin Tan, the Crazyhouse World Champion, former Crazyhouse World Champion. But he's not really Justin Tan, but it's just a little joke. And no one knows who he chooses to stay anonymous, so no one knows who he is. So queen b1, attacking the knight, rook b8, knight here, attacking the rook. Okay. So white has all the pieces, but how to... Okay, he gives up the queen, brave, but I think he has a plan. Knight at b8, and queen here, checkmate. The king can never run out here because this square is covered twice. So it'd have to kind of run back, and I don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe that would work because I'm not seeing the mate immediately, but yeah, well, we're going to see the mate. So how do you mate the king on c8? Let's have a think. That will do it, I think. Yeah, queen and a rook will do it. Yeah, I don't think he had the rook necessarily. Let's just have a quick look at that. If in this position he'd just taken the queen, let's just cheat a little bit. There was knight at b8. Why can't he just run queen at d7, king b7? Oh, of course. Queen takes c6, and then queen here. Okay, I completely missed this. But okay, in the game, this happened, and no, that was very straightforward. If yeah, there's yeah, so that's the idea. You take. If you don't take, then we're taking c6 and then c7. Okay, so that was what I missed. So Alduto, he wins by mixing it up. So that's the lesson. Mix it up. And he's mixing it up here as well, playing this slightly risky line where you allow takes f7. So can notjannlee, it's a really uncomfortable line. I mean, this is coming, or this. How do you defend both? But somehow he won the last time. Lone Wolf says bishop at d7 must be bad in general. He's somehow surviving for now. He's going to go add f7, knowing notjannlee. He's just going for it. But you don't have enough. You need another pawn. Okay, but yeah, but this is, you have to say just objectively, White's position is gorgeous. All his pieces are nice. Everything's defended. There's no attacks on the king. Meanwhile, Black's position has no attacking pieces. f7 is weak. You can't even take this knight, by the way. This is just finished. So I'm expecting 7-7 here. Hi there, Gusfraba. Well, we're having a real slogfest in the Scandinavian in Crazyhouse in this match. I'm doing fine. Both players are insisting on playing the Scandinavian, and both players are just bashing each other's Scandinavians over the head, basically. It's a real ding dong here. And if I just look overall, so in the last game, Alduto was white and won, but then he won with black as well, and then he lost with white, and then he won with black, lost with white, lost with white, lost with black. So it's been a bit of a. It'd be quite interesting if someone can just calculate what's the white-black win ratio. Then we can say if the Scandinavian, what's the percentage of the Scandinavian in this match? If someone can calculate that, that'd be nice. It'd just take me a few seconds to figure it all out. So maybe someone in the chat can tell me just from the scores what the white-black win ratio is. So black is curling up into a ball here. He's not going to be mated anytime soon. Gustavo says my brain hurts. Okay, I mean I can figure it out, but So Alduto, let's look at white. So Alduto, it's a 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. So Alduto is 5-2 as white. Alduto is very strong as white. And as black, Alduto is 1-2, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 3-4. That I've miscalculated. I got that Alduto is 3-4. That doesn't make sense. So it's 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. Okay, yeah. So Alduto is winning 4-3 as white and losing, and been losing. So those two he won, but then he lost the previous two. So it's 2-2, 3-2, 3-2, 3-3. Yeah, so Alduto is 4-3 up as white and 3-3 as black. Okay, there you go. So he's 4-3 up as white, and it's been 3-3 as black. So pretty, yeah. Yeah, it's not 5-2 as white. That was just complete nonsense. Yeah, I'd miscounted. Okay. And here, notjannlee has to tie it. Has to also get 4-3 as white, basically, in order to tie things up. So that would give you a kind of, yeah. So roughly, white is winning 4/7 of the games. Is a rough idea, because I expect white will win here, but of course nothing's guaranteed. I mean, this is nasty. This F7 weakness. I mean, this is the thing about Crazyhouse. This is the one thing about Crazyhouse you have to be aware is weak squares. So, oh, I didn't expect that. I thought hit the weakness. I'm not sure. But I guess white still has all the pieces. So, I mean, he could just drop a pawn and promote it or something, and I can't see much. I guess there'll still be this. But okay, this is brave. He's saying, I'm maybe I sack a queen even. That's what he's sort of hinting at. I don't know if that works. Hasn't got quite enough, does he? Yeah, he doesn't. Don't know. It seems a little bit careless from white, but white for sure is still winning, but still seems careless. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, so it's not careless at all. The rook, it was defended. Okay, I think he's got this. Yeah, this should be easy. With 2 knights, a bishop, and a rook, this should be very straightforward. So, what's the finish? Let's see. So obviously you have to block. Just giving himself some luft. Fair enough. The question is how to mate. I thought this was the problem. Okay, he's stepping up. Okay, so classic queen and bishop 3 apart. Covers off everything. Okay, so notjannlee does win as white. Okay, so we've got a real show on. Mugwort plays mariorton in 12 minutes. I don't know if this is even going to be finished by then. They're going to have at least another 2 games of this. They can just keep on going, and they're going to keep on going until someone breaks a deadlock and takes a lead after an even number of games. Let's go, says not okay. Who are you on Lee Chess? Not okay. That's the funny one. What is the format? First to 10. So the format is best of 10, but we're past that now. We're in tie breaks. So at 5-5, it's tie breaks, and it's whoever's best after an, yeah, exactly. It's like tennis. So let's see. This. We have a different move from white. He's mixing it up again. He's not going at e5. So the whole way through the match, he stuck to his guns. And now he's trying to mix things up a bit, and has had quite good success mixing things up. He tried first bishop e2, trying now bishop here. Okay, so just mixing things up, and that's a good move. It's a fork. He's asking for... Okay, that's true. You can throw a check in and then defend the knight, or swing the knight back to the b3. So everything is defended. Meanwhile, black will still have this check and then pick up the bishop if he wants to. Not okay says he's my son never called me. Okay, how could I have guessed that? Aren't you? Yeah, so you were yellow and now you're not okay. The thing about okay is I think everyone should be okay. Like okay is just queen e5, bishop e2. Oh yeah, that's true. Queen e5, you can save the bishop. Nice. Seeing one move more. Okay, so what do we see here? David says, match going 2 hours plus, have to postpone the Mugwort mariorton match. I'm sure this isn't, but what is the longest CWC match? It says GMBMW. I think it's like 10-8. Or there was one in last CWC which is like something ridiculous, like 13.5, 11.5 or something. And it was very frustrating because the player who won had a mate in 1 which they missed. So sorry, the one who lost rather. So it could have gone on even longer. Christopher says, I'm not okay, my brain hurts. I feel like I have a headache. Oh, well, get well soon. I'm going to have a headache on Monday because that's my second vaccine dose. But I'll be pleased to have that headache, I guess. It'll give me a little bit of security of mind when things are blowing up in the UK for the 3rd time. So notjannlee, like Janlee, not afraid to sack the queen. And I see g2, f3 weaknesses, which are interesting. Oh, what's he doing? He's maneuvering his knight around. Now that the knight has dropped, not on c7, the knight here looked a bit silly. So it goes for a little bit of walk around. Gustavo says, wish you the best, thank you. It'll be fine. I kind of feel quite stiff for 2 or 3 days. Like that was my experience for the first time, but actually in preparation for the first one, I think I went on, not necessarily intentionally, I went on some really long walks. So, because I really feel it kind of, it gives you a kick in your fitness, as it were. So I feel like going for long walks is good preparation to build up the fitness, because it's going to take a tumble after the vaccine, and it's easy to get back into it. Yeah, lethargic and weak, and yeah. So actually, I didn't get any. Oh, I've got the earthquake syndrome. I don't have a good solution to this. So it just happens sometimes. I don't know what to do. It's very weird. So yeah, really confusing what's happening this game. I think white really wants a knight for c7. I'm just going to check if he's given up the queen, but he hasn't got initiative. That's the only thing about that knight here. I'm just going to quickly check if things look okay still after that tweak. I need to move that slightly wider and things are okay again. I don't know why it happens. It's the it's the Lichess. It's been reported to Lichess, this little bug of shaky screen. It happens on Chrome. Okay, what is going on here? Alduto has a wonderful idea. If you take this, I mate you, so you can't take it. But notjannlee is lucky because all those squares are defended, so there's no mate. But what? No, there's no mate. There's nothing. Everything's so well defended. That's incredible. So he just grabs the bishop. That makes sense. And notjannlee going straight for a counterattack. Yeah, that makes sense. So you can't just grab this knight because pawn here, queen here is checkmate. And pawn here. I'm rather worried. What? That can't. Yeah, that was a bit of an oops. Oops, as David says. Ah, yeah, bad mistake. I mean, tiring match. But you don't expect the chess player to to hang the queen. Um, so the question is just yeah, I think I'm not sure about giving away the pawn. Like you want to save this up until you have like if, some kind of plan. Like if you could go a check and then take something. Um, so just to clarify, why can't you just take the knight? Queen at d7 here. Yeah, that's obviously it's a smothered mate. That was a really easy one, which I should have spotted. I didn't spot it because I was thinking about um, this. If you go here, it's back rank mate here, so you have to go here. And this is also mate because you clear away the rook. So I was just thinking stupid thoughts, like so. And you go either way and it's a back ranker. So I was trying to calculate that. I hadn't even got to the end of it, but it's just a simple back ranker. Okay, so the way to defend is to go straight away with drop a queen, defending the square. But you just dropped it. Maybe you could say it was a mouse slip. Yeah, maybe it's tiredness. Queen at d6 check is the counter. At d7, really complicated position. Who knows who's winning here? Queen takes c6, bishop takes c6. Yeah, apparently white has a slight edge. I need a drink. Alduto takes an 8-7 lead, and I expect he's going to try and mix things up again. He doesn't. He goes back to the line, which, as I said, he had some success in. But mixed success. This doesn't look... So we're repeating the same old line that they played in the first few games. It's a strange line. No one really knows if white or black is better, because people in the chat were saying actually better than at f6 is at h6 in those positions. And if queen takes g4, then opening the bishop onto here, queen takes here, bishop here. So that's apparently his theory. So they're not playing theory exactly. But we've seen this line a lot. So king here, you think he's going to take the rook, but he's worried about this. So he actually takes here, and he admits I can't control f2, but I can control e3. So whoever's better here is very unclear, but they've played this exact position about 4 times or 3 or 4 times already. So yeah, Alduto back on match point. Like, so we've had an odd number of games. So Alduto has been white to begin with. So you see, in this exact line, notjannlee did win the first game, but lost the second game, won the third game, and lost the fourth, and won the fourth game. So he's had a good record actually in this line. He's only won 3 out of 4 or so as white. So this, I mean, yeah, it looks quite promising for white actually, but it's incredibly complicated. It's incredibly complicated, and white only has like 1 pawn in hand, and a hanging knight, and he has to be very resourceful. So moves like this at f6, you can't take my knight because this is actually, it's winning. You can't go this way because that's just checkmate. Drop a pawn and rook h8 mate. So yeah, I've taken. Okay, this is interesting. That's a really dangerous counterattack. here, because at some point the king is going to be forced to take f2. It's hard to defend. Maybe you can't go rook g1, for example, because it just takes it. Yeah, this is looking extremely dangerous. At least the knight check squares are covered. So maybe you survive. Takes, takes, and pawn at g4 is what I'm expecting. Yeah, Gusrao, both players clutching out their last game. Yep, we're going to see bishop takes g2, pawn at g4, and the point is pawn here is very dangerous. But at some point, king can take on f2 instead of taking on g2. So maybe that also happens. So this, pawn at g2, pawn here. Yeah, what happens next? You don't really want to take here because knight here check, as well as pawn takes knight. Knight here check. I don't know. I think Alduto might clinch this. And Mugwort mariorton starts now. So it may be Alduto just clinches this game. He is looking good. Okay, we have the counterattack. Doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, we don't have a bishop. I assumed we had a bishop. We don't have a bishop, so maybe just develop. So yeah, so maybe the reason why that's actually a much better move than what I was thinking is well, yeah, no, I mean, there were ideas queen takes knight, queen takes, bishop here, winning the queen back with check, but they don't work because I'm sure black would have mate. So white desperately trying to defend. I think this, yeah, I don't believe a word of it. I think black's got this. Knight here, check. You can't step up because knight takes bishop will come with check. You can either push or drop here. This square is really well defended. It just takes the piece, which I think is good actually. And now this square is actually weak. E3 is weak. It's defended 3 times, but it's being attacked 3 times. So E3 is going to fall. I liked at E3 because now E3 can be defended. I don't see the point of covering this square necessarily. So, oh, that's nice. That's a nice find. So double take is a danger. This check is also in a danger. Oh, nice. Alduto does clinch it. 9-7. Congratulations to Alduto. That was a fantastic match. Really fantastic match. Yeah, really well played from both players. Wonderful. I'm gonna just. I think Mugwort and mariorton are both online, but they've been real. They've just they've held off starting their match just in admiration. I said actually that what I'd do is just actually after the match actually look if these openings actually made sense. The openings that were played for most of the match. Bishop d2, e5, this is all theory. Knight c3, bishop here, at g5, knight d5. Takes, takes. I'll turn on the opening explorer so you can see who else has played these games. And now this is the key move that's interesting. So the move here for white that's most common in the book is at h6. And you think this isn't a good move because of this, but it doesn't work because d4, queen takes g2. This looks scary for white, but bishop f3 is actually really good. And that's, yeah, this is good for white, really good. But notjannlee played this instead, which, let's see, T. Jarkfoss has played it. Berkal, T cubes. So it's much less played. And if you, let's see, if you take it as variance only did, d4 is the best move. Takes here, and I think in the match, usually he went this way, but sometimes he also went bishop takes. And we can see here all the games are with d4 are indeed notjannlee against Alduto. These 4 games, the first 4 games of this match. So d4 is a novelty, in fact, and the best move in the position, possibly, from notjannlee, and he's in prep at this point. Takes here, queen takes, knight at c. He did in some games go knight at c7, knight at c7, king f8, and knight takes d5. So this is good for white, basically. And what happened in this last game was knight f3 first. Sometimes he did this first, then knight c7, then knight takes d5, and king f1. That's the point. Hitting the queen, and the idea was put a pawn on here and threaten this, and you get these sorts of positions where they're very sharp. Just one move, and actually, yeah, black was back in control with at h3. So what went wrong in this particular game was not clear. I mean, what went wrong was a very unbelievable move, which is leaving this bishop hanging. I don't understand how anyone would do that. Why can't we just take the bishop? Because then we take this knight. But okay, this is, I don't understand at all, and it's very unclear. So at e6, what is the best move for white here? Engine still not sure. It wants queen d3. So really unclear position. This is all completely... Okay, so that was the games when notjannlee was white. Let's actually have a quick look at the opening when Alduto was white, and you can see this is the line that was played a lot. So is rook g1, rook b1 the best? No, the best move here is actually queen d2. And we see that JK the Bullfrog has played this, GSVC, Janlee has played this, but so rook b1 takes, knight takes f2, bishop here, check here, king. Yeah, castles just doesn't work because he lost the queen. So in some games, we did indeed have king takes knight, and then the idea here is you sack your queen. Let's say we took the knight immediately. Take the knight immediately. The idea is you sack your queen on here. You have to take it. Knight d4 check, king e3. Knight takes bishop. Queen e1, and then black has a choice of where to go with the knight. This might be tempting, but knight d5 is tempting, but what we saw in quite a few of the games is trying to get the king even further up the board and then go knight d5. So king takes f4, and then, yeah. So we saw this sort of line being played quite a lot, but black has expended a lot of material, and so notjannlee was playing with very low material, but trying to mate this white king, and with some success. But it's, again, the engine really has no idea. It's complicated. So knight d5 seems natural. Maybe white is just about okay, but the king is looking a bit sketchy. Let's just look at the 4th time that was played, because that was maybe the best attempt from both. Takes. Oh, he didn't go for the knight takes f2 immediately. He went for e3, so he switched it up. So let's actually look at the 3rd time this was played, just quickly. Sorry about this. So this line is played again and again from both players. Knight takes f2, queen takes knight, knight takes bishop. He played this move. Yeah, this is not so strong. Queen takes c3, and he just lost all his material. So this was a disaster, in fact. So they didn't necessarily play better as it went on. Knight d5, what he played in one of the earlier games, was actually very good. King to d3, and yeah, really interesting games. Very sharp positions, but it was it was some. We're repeating the same opening lines, but I think the opening line was such that it basically took both players out of book, so it really equalized things between both players, between notjannlee and Alduto, but Alduto still managed to win. He was not able to exercise his opening theory, but he still got the win, so congratulations. And I'm just going to go fetch a drink, but I'll leave you on game 1. Oh, we're going to see this again. Mugwort against mariorton. Oh, we're going to see what? Are we going to see this again? So Mugwort's been watching this for 2 hours. So, but what he's been watching for 2 hours is at a3 in this position. But mariorton is not going to do that. That's quite funny. He does a3 now. Takes. Does this. Takes here. Mugwort's super safe. Hitting the knight again. Crashing open the center. Whoa, this cannot be good. Mugwort's just saying, give me a queen trade. And looks like game over in game 1. Mugwort seems to have got the win in game 1. Okay, of course, nothing is over until it's over, but king, because if king takes the bishop, queen here, and pawn here is checkmate, obviously. Queen here, pawn here. So king has to step here, and then I can't quite see it. And I'm going to, well, I can't go and fetch a drink now because, so now the threat is what? If bishop takes knight, queen here check. I mean, there's a mate, but how do you get? Queen takes this knight? No. I don't see the mate is the problem. And maybe some this idea was the problem. I just didn't see it. I mean, simple is just, yeah, this. That's what I was going to say. Deflect, and then for sure we got a mate. With what? With queen here, and then drop a pawn here, and double check ideas, and if knight takes, queen takes. Ah, still the king's going here. So, gosh, mariorton is tough to beat. So you don't want to take this knight, because I was knight here, queen here, knight takes pawn would be mating. Queen here, king here, he's got a double checkmate. Yes, he gets it in game 1. Because I can't see mates, what was the mate if black does the obviously bad move, bishop takes b7. Queen at d7. Oh, I missed it. The knight taking on e6. Okay, that was easy. Okay, so game 2, just quickly flip. So it's a d4, d5. Very weird, not taking the bishop out to f5, instead playing the Dutch. Okay, I'm gonna be back in a sec. I'm just gonna get a drink. Okay, I'm back. I'm just seeing if I
Hey, okay,
can.
can you
Oh,
hear me?
hello. Yes, wonderful. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I can hear you fine. So, welcome, PKR 5025. Um, so we've seen Mugwort take game one against mariorton. And I haven't had a
Yeah,
chance
it
to.
was a nice game.
And I just noticed Mugwort playing the Dutch in game two. I just got to flick through the game uh, because I had to just quickly take a breather after that 2 hour match. uh, so because we just
No,
saw
I know that was great.
Alduto with the wonderful win. I mean, notjannlee played amazing as well. So the idea here was if this is very interesting. Knight takes d4. If knight takes d4, bishop takes knight. Very nice for black. So it forces queen takes. What was the idea after queen takes? Not clear, but just tempo, just initiative. He just forced the queen to make 2 moves and gets a little bit of initiative. So very creative there from Mugwort, I think. Takes a knight. Oh, he takes a rook, and he's. Is that going to be enough? Like it looks. Yeah, it's a resignation. Oh my goodness.
You know, one thing I think Mugwort has going for him is nobody else plays the Dutch, so it's bad, but no one knows the refutation.
Is that no one apart from you?
No, no, I have no idea.
So rook takes f1. Yeah, this is brilliant because however you take that rook, rook at h2 is mate. I've got a good record against the Dutch. Like in the very first ever Crazyhouse League, um, not the first ever, but so Fishy Vishy played the first ever, and like the second or third, Antic played, and as black he played the Dutch against me, and it was like I didn't know he was going to play the Dutch against me, but the tactic against the Dutch is just try and hit the f7 square basically, and I'm like a 2000 player and he's like 2400, and I win. Okay, it's slow time control, so it gives me time to think, but
Oh,
I win.
nice.
I win against his Dutch, so I get 1-1 against him at least. Um, so the Dutch just does give you chances. You have a weak square to hit. Um, so not okay.
Right.
Because my son never called me in the Twitch chat, says this looks like a chess game. Because I haven't been paying attention to the Twitch chat, it could have been any of the last 3 games. Um, so just to play through this again, I don't think this looks like a chess game, so it must be some other game. Knight takes knight, pawn takes. Yeah, okay. Just trying to get my eye in again. Pawn at g5, pretty thematic here. King f2 is safe enough with lots of open space. Um, says Katask about this move here.
Yeah, white seems pretty good in this position.
Is there no checks? Well, there is a check. There's knight at.
A knight at g4, but doesn't do anything.
Wouldn't. Yeah, take off the pawn at e5 at least. So g7 is going to be a weakness probably. So I'm expecting knight at g4, king going to e1 or e2, knight takes e5, pawn takes knight, queen takes, and knight at h5. Something. I mean, that would be my expectation, but that's just. um,
Just bishop at d4 here,
yeah,
and
exactly.
yep.
Solid.
Yeah, this looks bad.
Now black has more pieces hanging. So yeah, I have to say Mugwort has to be the favourite. He's got a rating edge. Oh, what? Oh, I see. It's not hanging
Queen
the knight.
takes, then queen takes d4.
Yeah, it's not hanging the knight. It's a cunning idea, but I'd take it anyway.
But you can just sidestep too.
I would take it and then. Oh, I don't have a new bishop, but
You can also take and then just bishop
bishop
e3
e3.
seems
Yeah, say
okay.
it's my development, and you don't have any knight. You don't have
I
any.
guess queen takes e5 then, but
Yeah, there, here, and then here. But we're quite well developed. But do we have any? Yeah, I'm not sure because also the d pawn is coming with tempo, so it's not so. It's actually quite uncomfortable. So yeah, maybe sidestep after all.
And then white has like knight at f5 or h5 coming.
King g3, yes. This is what I was. This is what I was silently thinking. Let's go for it. And mariorton is. It's like he's prepared this already. It's like, why can't I take that queen?
I would.
I mean, you kind of have to, I guess. Oh,
This is a bit dangerous.
oh. I don't.
Yeah, I guess the king is safe on d1 at the end. Yeah.
But was that necessary? So okay, so just I'm going to just back up a second. If king
F
takes knight, was there something I'm missing?
Bishop takes d4.
Oh
The
yeah,
bishop
we're losing the
forked the
queen. We're
king and the
losing the
queen.
queen. Ooh, okay, okay, okay. I really was being silly here. Yep. Okay, so queen takes e5 is coming next. Knight f2 is coming next. Yeah, this is a bit uncomfortable. Knight f2.
Yeah, the king will sidestep, and if you take the rook, then white gets initiative.
We got time to go at e7 or something, right? We don't have a pawn, but still, just bishop at e7 probably be good enough. You can't take it.
Maybe like knight at b5.
Yep.
Or yeah, f5, same idea, or similar.
Okay, I mean that works. But bishop at e7 seemed very direct. How do you stop queen at d8 mate?
True. I mean, like a lot of moves were good for white.
Yes, it's just a different move order, as it were. I think queen takes bishop is pretty much. Yeah, I guess the advantage of this knight drop is also it's covering e3, so it's actually it has sort of some defensive meaning as well. Whether that
Yep.
wasn't necessarily needed, but just yeah.
Yeah, this is just about resignable if it's not CWC.
Yep.
And now you even have queen at e7 ideas without the knight. Like if rook takes f5, now queen at e7 mates.
So we have two queens. Yeah, that's a nice point. And of course, Mugwort finds it. So if you step up, it's a hook mate, and if you step down, it's a smothered mate. And he goes for the hook mate. So, Mugwort with a
Yeah,
3-love
strong play
lead.
by Mugwort.
Indeed. I just realized I need to update the title.
I know a lot of players do it, but I've never been a fan of the fianchetto as white, or either color.
Okay, so I've updated the stream title on Lichess, and we are still a featured stream on Lichess. So that's thanks Lichess for supporting Crazyhouse.
Yes, for sure.
So what do we have here? Another Dutch.
Yep, same thing as game 2.
Yep. Yeah, so
You have time to do it when white fianchettos. You're
you
basically
do.
giving away your first move
You do.
advantage.
Yeah, exactly, you do. The way I hit the Dutch, and I just beat Tornon like three times in a row or something in the Dutch in what was it, in some arena last week. Is I go d4 e4, I hit f5, I hit f7, just grab the center and hit the weak squares. So Tornon was playing Dutch in his CWC match, and then he started playing Dutch in some arena against me. I kind of it's not that I know the opening moves. I just play just normal stuff, and we both make mistakes, but I just got lucky and won 3 out of 3 against him in the Dutch. I was lucky I was white every day.
Very nice.
Oh, I remember what it was. It was a daily Crazyhouse
that's
arena.
impressive. Tornon is strong.
Yeah, he won the arena. But I got him every time. I went down to Blunderman 1, and I went down to someone else. So other people beat me. Okay, so Mugwort's thinking. That's his one weakness. He thinks.
Right.
That's just a bit of a joke. Um, he's a very strong slow Crazyhouse player, but he does sometimes use up his time too much because he's just looking for that best move, as it were. And sometimes you just have to just keep some reserve on the clock.
Yeah, but he also seems to know when to think, and then he'll speed up when it's important.
What's funny is I remember a match, Mugwort against Fieglud. I can't remember who won the match, but I think Mugwort won it. But game 1, Mugwort's just woken up, and he gets really low on time in game 1. It's just, and it's Fig. Yeah, obviously Fieglud is a grandmaster, plays extremely fast. So today, Mugwort's been awake in Australia for 2 hours watching the previous CWC match, where Alduto took down notjannlee, also a fellow Australian. So he's been awake 2 hours this time. So I remember this past match with Fieglud. He just fast. He'd just woken up, and obviously that does. I mean, I find that myself. I'm really slow first thing in the morning.
It always amazes me the times that the Australians, Jan or John Lee and Mugwort will play it.
Yep.
Queen takes h4, anything? Probably not, but
I was wondering, was queen takes g5 possible instead of bishop takes e5? So you don't always have to take back the piece that's taken. You could take a different piece, do something else. I think queen takes g5 not good, but okay. But okay, maybe he takes.
Maybe it gets hit.
Yeah, maybe it gets hit. It happened anyway. It does get hit. I think black's doing well, but I'm finding it hard to assess quickly. Ooh.
It's very dynamic.
So he wants knight
It's
h8.
hard for black to.
Bishop f3 is coming. Okay, so this is good play from Mugwort. But if f3 can, yeah, so he's taking the queen basically on g2. Unless so.
Do you have just like add h6 here? Or similar, yeah, add f6.
Yep, and is that a mate threat? Yes, it is. I think it is. Knight takes knight.
The knight covers that. Yeah.
That's why I'm not. Yeah.
He's gonna flag.
So it looks like Mugwort's winning, but he's only got 2 seconds on the clock against 2:21. Play. Yep.
Winning is a bit strong.
Well, it's 3 plus 2. He's got to play every move in 2 seconds. Yeah, you're winning a queen with check. Your king is looking unclear. Because knight.
And eventually, white probably takes twice on f3.
really unclear.
Knight takes h7.
Okay, looks losing now. Why not pawn?
Or just f6.
Oh, this also works. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Nicely done from mariorton, though.
Yep, on the board. 3-1.
Because I thought Mugwort was crashing, so... Okay, so what do we have here? We have a switch up from mariorton, no Scandi. Bishop e7 line, v4, e5. So, some kind of mainline theory.
Yep. Theory so far. Yep.
So what's the move here for black?
I think normally you trade on a d4. Yeah, like here, knight takes d4, queen takes d4.
Yep.
Not sure what, Mugwort was thinking about. A normal knight at h4 here. Knight at e6 I have not really seen.
So if just simply knight takes knight check and queen takes queen, does white get an advantage? Knight takes knight, bishop takes, queen, some piece takes, maybe the bishop takes again, and then knight at h5. Seems decent. And that knight on e6 is looking...
Yeah, I guess white gets the first
white gets...
drop in that.
Looks good.
But I don't know, these lines are just so double-edged.
Oops. So I've been streaming for like 2.5 hours, but just probably talking non-stop for most of that time. So, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, I like this trade all.
mariorton is thinking.
I like the trade all, but yeah, I guess this one is maybe what's the plan here? Still takes f6 and then what?
There are also sometimes queen g3 ideas. Just trying to eye g7.
Okay, yeah. Which for the moment is defended. Maybe another idea is knight takes f6 and then e5. Just dominating the center.
But then you have to worry about like knight at g4 stuff.
True. Okay, yep, I missed that.
But mariorton opts for safety. And yeah, both of our moves, e5 and knight g4.
Yep.
Maybe h5? Is that too crazy? Looking for like bishop h4?
h5, bishop h4. So f7 is still a weakness, by the way, potentially. Nothing.
Yeah, it could turn into one.
So
Do you want to go crazy, like knight takes c7, bishop takes f7?
yeah, I was thinking knight takes c7 at e6, because then the knight would hang. But yeah, not sure.
Well, here's my bishop h4 idea.
Yep,
Yeah,
indeed.
you got 2 pieces for the queen. Although knight at f6, probably not here, but something to keep in mind.
So Mugwort thinking which pawn to take this bishop with. So chess would be instant h takes. Crazyhouse sometimes it would be f takes to open up the rook file on f7. f7 is a weakness after all. But it does open up, e3, and the king isn't castled just yet. So yeah, there might have been
And now knight at f6,
yeah, at
right?
f2, knight takes e4.
Or I guess the knight covers.
Yep. So what's the chat saying? Knight takes e4, yeah. So obviously you couldn't take with the f pawn because of at f2, knight e4 ideas, which look nasty. Okay, now we have a mate threat on d1. Got to do something about that. Castling seems obvious. But then at e2
Castling
comes.
looks scary. Maybe just bishop d2. Oh, interesting.
He wants to keep the
Not what
bishop.
I would have played.
He wants to keep the bishop facing f7. Clearly. What? Seems to work actually.
I'm not sure. This looks good for black.
Yep, it certainly does. I mean, d1's weak as well. So you're going to get squeezed with the double pincer movement.
Knight h2 here. And flag.
Flags. Okay, so that's the second game on the trot for mariorton. Just want to. Okay, just want to.
And Mugwort changes. No more f5.
So yeah, after h takes g3, he's still doing fine. So it really is just a time pressure thing. Just castling was fine at some point. Castling was fine. Yeah, still casting was fine. Well, maybe not fine by this point because of at f3. But castling instead of bishop at e3 was fine. Once you've built up the treble pawns on the g file, you quickly get castled beneath those treble pawns. So the Dutch failed him last game, so he's gone back to just grabbing the center against the fianchetto. So
yep, and you get king h1, knight g1. The moves that no beginner would ever play.
yep. So Duvid says the Duvid system. An entire sleeve was saying Mugwort clock running on fumes in that last game. Yep. In the last couple of games, indeed. Yeah, that's his weakness. He has to avoid the temptation. And I think you do too, PKR. You need to just keep that. You have to keep that. It's your only hope against a player like PKR or Mugwort. You have to get them down to under a minute, and then anything can happen. Whereas like when you have more than a minute, PKR, you're impossible to beat.
Well, that was my problem also today. I played my 960 match against Freebie.
Freebie, yes.
Yeah, I threw away the first game in time pressure.
Yeah. And yeah, he's been having a hard league in general because he lost all his previous games.
Right. Well, I was very happy to beat Torn on 2-0 in the league.
Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, it's not that Freebie is a bad player. It's just bad as LH960. It's just that he's really unfamiliar, and his style is is very free in sacking pieces and going in, and almost like a bug house style, and that really doesn't suit Crazyhouse 960 because your pieces are not coordinated very well. So you're just going to run out of your attacks normally.
Right.
So he that's what he doesn't like about Crazyhouse 960 is that it can sometimes get quite chess like.
Well, I'm sort of with him on that. I don't like the chess-like part.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I necessarily agree with that it gets chess-like.
So it's chess like only in the sense that you have to be a little bit patient in the way you conduct your attacks.
Well, developing is definitely less natural, but
Yes.
you're still going to get the trades, and you have to be very wary of
You still
where
exactly you
those
have all the
pieces can drop.
absolutely you have all those tricks and stuff, but then you have to also be just a little bit patient. Like when when you got your opponent king in the middle of the board, you don't have to go for the kill immediately. You don't have to sack everything to go for the kill. And I think that's what he figured out like in your game 2 against you. He didn't sack everything. He took it slow. So he realized.
You still can sack everything, you just have to make sure you're ready for it, because you need to be developed.
Yes, exactly.
But okay, in this game, it looks like both players are pretty safe. I think Mugwort lost a pawn somewhere.
Yeah, white looks very safe. And um, talking about chess like, um, it's yeah, both sides are going to be playing chess for a while, I think.
Right.
So there are no weaknesses really to hit, or there were no weaknesses to hit. And so we just see a piece trap. Well, not piece trap, but okay. I mean, G6 is a weakness to hit in G6 maybe, but we don't even have a pawn for G6.
Knight takes f5 in this. Oh wow.
So he's going straight for f7.
Yeah, this looks really rough for black.
Jasugi99 says Queen d4, nasty threat now.
Yep, yeah, if you recaptured, there was knight e7, rook h7 mate.
I think my brain is running on fumes because I'm not not seeing it. Okay, so just going.
It would have deflected the bishop on f6 from covering e7 before.
I see. So back rank attack from white. That's gonna hurt. Hang on. So black's got all the material, but no attack. Oh, this is so unclear. I mean, knight d7. So I mean,
Yeah, bishop at e7. It's just tough with, 2 or 3 seconds.
yeah. And
It
like
feels like white will just always have the initiative. Okay, black had a threat for the first time in a while.
yep. I think that was a mate threat.
But this
Knight
is
G3
over.
was a mate threat, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, calmly parried and yeah, just no time to defend.
Gosh, so mariorton really has struck back 3-3. And by the way, I just noticed if Jasugi99 or Katask want to join commentary, that'd be also cool in the House Party channel.
But yeah, of course, they're
Or
incredibly strong.
anyone else who wants to pop in, we're watching Mugwort TV on Leechess.
Yeah, I've avoided learning any of this stuff just by always sacking on f7 when black tries to fianchetto before they can castle.
Okay.
But this seems to have worked out well for Mugwort.
Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, he's got everything he wants this game. So just gonna quickly play through it again. What went wrong for black? So he trades rook and pawn for 2 pieces, but that's, yeah. What does black have to go king takes or something? Yeah, it must be, because now you're losing a piece, and he's just hitting these h6 g7. So it looks like it should be an easy game, this one. Just need to get a pawn for h6, and then we're good. Or just push e5. That'll get you a pawn, or it'll get you a knight.
Yep, yeah, I like e5 and Mugwort agrees.
Okay, this knight on g8 still stubbornly defending. And Duvid explained, yeah, he forgot to play h6 at some point. Okay. So we got our pawn. We're threatening pawn takes d6, which is annoying.
We were threatening just pawn at e6 or f6.
Pawn at f6 as well. Yep.
Less powerful now, but maybe still you go for it.
You can still do it now. Yep.
It was better when the bishop was pinned, but even here.
So we pick up a knight. Ah, that's powerful. Yep. We're going to pick up a bishop for free and threaten queen g8 mate. Can't be a bad thing.
And this is just over.
mariorton resigns.
And resigns.
Bishop at g8 would have kept the game going, maybe. Beautiful bishop blocked in by pawns. Jasugi says Mugwort terrifying with white. Well, Mugwort has to win this, and he's into the candidates, right? Yeah.
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I play Mugwort, he plays lines as black that I know are bad, and I still can't win. Very frustrating. But with white, it's like I don't even stand a chance.
I'm just reminding myself who the loser of this match plays again. The loser of this match plays Little Plotkin. Oh yeah, so this is going to take a while.
So that'll be a good one.
It'll be the loser of this match against Little Plotkin, and whoever wins that against the winner of Cabbage 264 Brock against the winner of Torn On against Pawn in Training. So one of those three is going to face the winner of Little Plotkin against whoever loses this match. So, okay, so we have this.
Yeah, Cabbage, he had the really close match with Janlee, right?
Yes, indeed. And then played a very long series.
Good one.
Played a very long bullet series with Janlee, and was giving Janlee some trouble there as well. I mean, Janlee had the better of it, but Cabbage was clearly causing problems.
He's very strong, but I think maybe a bit less experienced playing Crazyhouse. I know he plays a lot of Bughouse.
Yep. And what I noticed is that after Janlee had beaten off Cabbage, he was in awesome form against Upperways. So. Yep, as Katas says, this is indeed a candidates match. And yeah, so this is a big match for whoever wins. I mean, if you don't win this, you have to face Little Plotkin. So, and then that you're not even through necessarily. You have another match against Cabbage possibly, or someone. So yeah, this match means a lot. And also, just to say, I mean, mariorton beat off Master Tan in round 4, so that's no mean feat.
So Master Tan, is he out?
He's in the yeah, he was knocked out in the eliminations.
Yeah, wow. It's very strong field.
He was knocked out by Morlock, but now Morlock's been knocked out by Burpcow. So, yeah, Morlock goes and beats Master Tan, but then doesn't beat Burpcow. But Burpcow's also very strong. Burpcow, beat Little Plotkin. So, yeah, very strong. Duvid says rinse and repeat. Yeah, I haven't been commentating much on the games. What do we see here? Well,
This is just awful for black.
it's awful. So he's given up on G7. He's just trying to control F6 basically. So F6 is super well controlled, and G7 he's just completely given up on. But the problem
If
with
you're
that,
down material, your king is less safe. It's just like a matter of time.
yeah. So the problem with it is he doesn't need to go through F6. He could do stuff like bishop at G7, knight at E5, these sorts of. Yeah.
Even if you get another diag or two, go in through G6.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I think knight at E5 is nice. Okay, so he's saying I want a queen, that's a cool idea. So you're going to try and stop the queen trade. And now he could.
Yep, going in through G6.
Yeah,
I guess you can start to. I was gonna say take the bishop, but
he wants a pawn for H7 because then he could start to work on the back rank. So queen takes E6 would be a bit crazy, so it doesn't work, but it's far too crazy. Rook at H7 is.
Oh wow, rook at H7.
It's fun. Rook takes G7 coming. Rook takes bishop coming. Yep. Pawn at G7 coming.
And
yeah, take all the pieces. And
I don't think you could afford to take f5.
he wants queen takes f7. Okay, it's not over just yet. But a
I
knight and
guess you
pawn,
take the queen and pray.
knight and pawn mates, so he resigns. Yeah,
Yeah.
knight here, pawn here, pawn h7, knight f7.
Okay, 4-4.
So yeah, really well played from mariorton. Gosh, this is turning into another battle. And hi there, maniacal spore. I think I saw a message, but we're just going to be concentrating on Crazyhouse commentary on this stream. So we're not playing any tournaments or anything.
Yeah, so these bishop c5 lines are basically all bad.
Yeah, but this just made no sense because it was bishop c5 and then bishop back to e7 before white had even committed to going bishop g5. So white goes, okay, since you put your bishop on e7, this pin is well protected. Let's go with knight g5 instead. So white's got the knight g5, but with like extra couple of tempos practically.
Yep, and yeah, I've seen this before, but if you know what you're doing, white should be pretty good here.
So what's the next move? h7, f7?
I mean, yeah, both of those are possible. You can even maybe play it slow and go even c3 or bishop e3. And there's no rush.
There's a rush for Mugwort not to spend 30 seconds though.
True, true.
Make that 50 seconds. Oh no, you don't spend a third of your time on this move.
Okay, he made a choice.
And he must know this opening. I mean, he must know it like the back of his hand. It's just, um, I guess, just
I
choice.
wouldn't be as sure. I mean,
It's just,
bishop e7 is fairly rare. But yeah, this should just be good for white.
so bishop takes rook, king h8. There's a nice knight g6. But of course it's black to move. So what does black do here?
Well, you need to stop that somehow.
Block.
Um, maybe knight at e6?
Yeah, block on e6. And that doesn't really work because then you just drop a pawn on f5. And you're winning lots of material. And you even have queen takes h7 ideas, potentially, if you're feeling brave at some point. So yeah,
Yeah, but
this looks
I
very
guess black just didn't see anything else.
fun for white. Duva said this is okay for black. I don't know. Are we looking at the same position?
I'd still take white pretty heavily.
He's really going in.
The idea is if you try to hit the queen, then knight at h6.
Ah, I missed that. Yeah. At h. What's wrong with at h7? And the answer is knight at h6. Yeah, very nice. King f8, queen takes rook is mate, so king h8, but then you could swing across, knight takes f7, king g8, knight h6 again, king h8. Hang on. King g8, knight here, king here. You don't quite have smother, but there must be something. Yeah, you just have rook at h7, checkmate or something at the end of that line.
I guess you just go at h7 and then pick up the rook. At h7, king h8, knight at f7, rook takes, queen takes.
Yep, that looks like one idea. And if you go the other way, you promote, so that's also good. So that's promising. There might also be h6 ideas. Maybe not. He's going your way. Takes. So king takes.
Yep, and now knight at rook at g8 is a big threat.
Yeah, so king takes h7 is pretty much forced, but then rook h6 is mate. So, oops.
And if somehow they defend that, you can even take e6 and look for a knight at g6. It's just everything is working.
So the only thing you can do here is spam your partner for a queen and get a counterattack mate.
Yes.
Because then knight h3 would mate. It would mate for black if he had a queen in hand. So let's see. If we just go rook g8 immediately, it's not king h7. I don't see the mate, but maybe queen g8 takes.
Well, does black have a mate on you if you just take the queen?
Oh, I see. You just want to go rook g8 takes queen. Okay, good point. Scary though,
But
he does have knight
yeah,
e2,
knight
takes
e2, then
I don't know. I think you might have mate there. So knight e2 takes g2. He wants it with.
oh, rook e8. Well, that's.
So now the queen can come in, and is it mate?
But yeah, I'm not.
You need a pawn. Where's my pawn?
Now maybe you can take the queen.
1 second. Oof. Okay, I'm scared for Mugwort now. This is getting mated. Did he move the
Yeah,
right?
this
That
fell
was the wrong
apart.
knight. That was the wrong knight, wasn't it? Maybe it doesn't matter actually.
Well, black can just
No,
take
just take the
the
queen.
queen now.
Oof. Black
I
needs.
think after queen h5, you could have just tried to take d8 and hope you're not mated.
Four. What a tense game. He wants queen at h8 mate. Got to drop something. Or take it. Yep. But now g8.
All of a sudden, I think
don't know who's
I
winning.
think Mugwort is better.
I'm so confused.
Maybe not. Oh, you need to move. Oh, he flagged. Oh, jeez.
There's going to be a mate somewhere here, isn't there? Mariorton Speed Demon says Katask. The Dovey system is winning the match, says Duvid. Okay, what was the right approach here? Unclear. Just g takes f3, take that pawn, and black doesn't have a pawn in hand. So instead of putting a rook on the back rank, move 17, just take the pawn, and the pawn is what you need for mate. Is what it says. King takes h7 is crushing. Queen h5. Now when you take At g2, king takes.
Wait, 17, g takes f3, just knight takes f3.
Yeah. And he doesn't have a second pawn.
Engine says roughly equal.
Moves 17.
At depth 20, it says like plus, so it's going up now, but it's like +1, +2.
Oh, okay. My engine. Okay, I see. And my engine's too weak here. It's king takes g2. I was thinking he doesn't have the second pawn, but it really is not sure. It's flipping between +9 and -9 on my computer, so I think we can say it's unclear.
But it's earlier, 12 teen's idea. 14 at f7 was game over.
Okay, at f7. So the idea of at f7 is if rook takes knight h6, we discussed that already. So you have to go, and if king here,
Yeah, and
knight here is mate, so you have to go
king
h8,
h8, queen h5,
king h5,
and then knight g6 is
knight
coming.
g6 is the problem, so you have to block on h6, but then
Or even bishop takes h6 if you block on h6.
Exactly, yes. So you do block on h6, but then bishop takes h6, and this is just crushing. Yeah. Okay, but your h7 idea is so tempting.
Okay.
So, wow. Okay, so Mugwort has to win on demand as black against this fianchetto setup. No pressure.
Yeah, tough ask, but we'll see.
Notice black already controls 5 rows versus white's 3 rows. So huge space advantage for black. So the engine will love black here. But having said that, it's actually a very solid setup. You know, bishop at h3, bishop on g2. Katas says queen takes e2 and queen f1, super fortress. Queen f1 is coming.
Yes.
Hilarious. Knight's quite useless at penetrating here. Yep.
Yeah, I have no idea how to try to make progress with black.
Yeah. Hi there, Ominous. Late night Crazyhouse. I love it. Yeah, we all do. And we have PKR in the commentary as well.
Yes. Hello. It's been a good one.
Pawn in training still on mobile.
Yeah, I always wonder if he's actually on mobile or if it's just, such a running joke at this point.
I've had this problem myself on mobile. You can get scores on mobile, but it requires going to the web browser on the mobile. So it's kind of annoying if you like using the app.
But I'm just talking about if he actually is on mobile or not, or if it's just, running joke.
Yeah, I think he is. So didn't Mugwort have knight takes f3? Was it so bad? Knight takes f3. I guess maybe king h1.
Well, if you go king h1, then you get queen takes g4.
Oh yeah, queen takes g4. So you have to take it, but if we take it, we've got queen takes and queen takes g4 next potentially.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay,
why
the knight is pinned.
Oh, wait, it's pinned.
The knight is pinned. Okay, I'm just completely okay. Okay, so the knight gets taken. Oh, this is just crushing. What is going on here? Black is getting completely roasted. It's just going for at g7. It's going to get taken again. Knight takes g7 and repeat. Jasugi says Mario channeling his inner Katask. Jasugi says I prefer black here though. What do I do as black though?
Take twice on f6 and
I was surprised
Yeah,
knight
this
takes
is okay.
g7 didn't happen though. Good pressure on the clock as well. 16 seconds against 2 minutes. Yeah.
Well, knight takes g7. You probably take. I was gonna say take on f6, but I'm not sure.
Okay, good second rank defense. Just the knight on g6 is hanging. How to defend it. Eek. Okay, now g7 is a weakness, but we can just take it. Decides to take it with the rook. Oh, this is so uncomfortable.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yep. Knight f7 will be knight f7 is a threat here, in fact, because the rook is pinned. But what's the follow-up?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the knockout blow is.
Rook takes knight, king takes. No, it doesn't quite work. There is something here. Knight f7. King g8. No, it doesn't quite work.
Oh,
Oof.
and that's mate. Ow.
Yeah, nice mate, as Katas says in the chat. Strong players in the chat. So mariorton wins 5 straight games, taking down the 2 Australians, Master Tan and Mugwort, along the way. Sends Mugwort off to face Little Plotkin in round 8 of the elimination. And wow, congratulations to mariorton. And good games. He wins within the 10. From Love 3, he wins 6 out of 7. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, very impressive showing. I would not have guessed that.
How does he do it? Just a very solid setup and just
Mugwort never could get in as black.
he's gonna make this kind of setup very popular, isn't he? And of course the engine loves these sorts loves to play against these sorts of setups. But what I also noticed about these sorts of setups is sometimes you have these like mating sequences, but they're like you have these like ways in, but they're not necessarily easy to see. So just looking at the last game as an example, move 17, engine wants to go knight g to h4. Just leave your knight hanging to try and get in. Still not winning, I'm just saying it's just an idea to try and break things down. Knight takes g7, maybe black's still winning. Knight h takes f3. Anyway, I'm not sure this is anything, but king h1.
Yeah, the engine has all sorts of crazy ideas that are very difficult to spot on human.
Yeah, so I think knowing how to break down these systems. Okay, so in that position, knight takes g7 was indeed the best move, but king takes g7 maybe was an idea, or rook takes f6. Knight goes back to h5, and then rook to f7, guarding g7. These sorts of ideas. Okay, so yeah, it was still good. Still good for white. But yeah, then actually after the queen for 2 knights, again, really unclear. But it requires somehow breaking down this whole thing. So rook takes f4. Yeah, maybe this doesn't even work. But if, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all very complicated.
But 6 out of 7 against Mugwort. That is, yeah, that's incredible.
You will not see that every day.
I think time management was a problem, though, to be fair. So in a lot of those games, Mugwort was doing quite nicely. Well, wasn't always doing badly, but he just let himself run low on time. And I guess that is
You
because
know, I said earlier that he'll get low on time and then, typically won't flag, but a couple games he did here.
yeah, yeah, and that is the pressure, right? I mean, so the second last game, he was obviously doing very nicely with just had to find yes, just not at the at F7 idea. Was there a point later on when he had a real chance? Oh, he had one momentary chance. So knight at f8 on move 24, this is the penultimate game, wasn't a good idea. Because apparently you can just grab that knight and then grab another knight. Oh, and queen at g8 is then mate. So
Yep. But yeah, that's much more difficult to spot when you have like 2 seconds.
yeah, that's true. And so rook takes knight. Yeah, because you're opening up the bishop diagonal. And so what else? Bishop takes knight, you have to go rook at h8. And then go at f5, which is what he did. Yeah, indeed.
It's been fun.
Yep. Oh,
I'm gonna
thanks.
take off.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining me and
Yeah,
having
no
fun.
problem.
It's fun to do together. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Good night, and yeah, enjoy the games tomorrow. There are lots of games happening Sunday as well. So um, see you PKR and see the rest of the viewers for some of the matches tomorrow on Sunday.
See ya.
Bye. Okay, if there's someone I should raid, let me know. We've had some intense matches. I should. So we've seen. I'll just give a quick rundown of. Mugwort now goes on to face Little Plotkin. I won't show you the complete draw, and Alduto goes on to face Blitz Bullet in round 8. So those are Alduto faces Blitz Bullet in round 8, and mariorton is now a candidate, and Mugwort faces Little Plotkin also in round 8. So that's what we can look forward to next week. With the week 7 matches finishing off in today and tomorrow. Okay, so good night, everyone. If for those still staying up, let's raid someone who's awake now. Well, let's raid Swirl. Give him some viewers, and see you all later today. I mean, it could in theory have been a 24-hour Crazyhouse stream, but I don't have the stamina for that. So see you in the morning, Sunday afternoon, for some more Crazyhouse action. Bye everyone, and thanks again to PKR for joining me. And let's go for a late night raid on Swirl. Bye guys.